Greetings, everybody. This is Brother Ron Heard, also known as R2C2H2 Artist. You are watching We All Be TV, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Can you dig it?
It's life. Life is interest right now. But I want to address two more things before we get out of here, because I know you've been very generous. I got to ask you about, you knew Mammy Till Mobley, Emmett's mom, and now there's a push right now to get Carolyn Bryant arrested and to face charges, and people saying that she's too old. But hell, they should give her the Bill Cosby treatment. He was in his 80s, and they get
Excuse me. Remember what happened with Medgar Evers?
Yeah, Byron De La Beckwith. He was in his 70s.
No, he was in his 80s when they got through with him.
He died in prison. Yeah, he spent about 6 years in prison. But what would you?
Now, what my point is, there is a black district attorney down in Mississippi that's in charge of this.
Yeah,
he could go a long way to recruiting black folk for the Republican Party by proceeding. He could at least submit it to the grand jury and let them take the heat for what they either do or do not do. Plus, the other thing is, that's a murder. There is no statute of limitations on homicide. And she's certainly an accessory to the homicide. So that would make her a principal when it's a first-degree murder. And by the way, in spite of the Emmett Till anti-lynch bill, in my conversations with Emmett Till's mother on several occasions, she did not consider it to be a lynching. She considered it to be a flat-out murder. Now, under the Emmett Till anti-lynch bill, I think they insulted the young man who died heroically. The people that perpetrated it, when they were acquitted, gave an interview to Look magazine, which they got paid $2,500 for, and they said he was cussing them out, telling them to go F themselves right when they were getting ready to kill him. So he went out with an F-U on his lips.
Judge. You think that's true? You believe that's true?
Well, yeah, I think it is, from listening to his mother and from what they described when I read I read it when it came out. That was our class assignment, by the way, at the time, to read that thing. So I read it. And interestingly enough, they've taken that anti-lynch bill and turned it into a tranny rights bill. It lists 3 categories that are protected: race, religion, and for the first time in federal legal lexicon, sexual orientation. You don't have to have a lynch mob anymore. It can be one person. And you don't have to have a killing. It says killing, beating, or kidnapping. And I emphasize this as to the poisonous nature of this bill. Let's supposing some guy's at a club. He and his old lady have broken up and he's feeling depressed. And he sees what he thinks is a cute thing in a short, tight dress. Big boobs, and they're dancing and exchanging spit on the dance floor. And all of a sudden, he notices that Miss Thing has now got a hard on. What the hell? He goes into a rage, busts it in the mouth, and knocks a tooth out or splits a lip. Under the new anti-lynch bill, that becomes a federal lynching because it's a beating and it only requires one person, and it's because of the person's sexual orientation. Now, let's take the race. That's obvious. That's how they slide it in, because if you didn't put race in there, you would pretty much move it out of the anti-lynch category in most people's minds, because they think black folk of being the victims of lynching. But actually, It's 2-1. There are a lot of white folk that got lynched, and you can see that in an old Turner black and white movie. Boys, you ain't getting this man out of my jail. We gonna give him a fair trial before we hang him. A lot of lynchings took place where white guys were involved out in the wild, wild west. So that aside, what about the religious thing? Well, you know, there is Judaism, and you go to synagogue. There's Islam. You go to mosque. There's Christianity. You go to church. There's Hinduism. You know, they got the six-armed God. You go to a temple. There's Taoism, Zen. There's the Buddhist thing. You go to temple. But the interesting thing about the last few, they don't have a deity. It's a system of philosophy. So when you take LGBTQ, the cult, you've got a system of philosophy, but you don't have a deity, and they're trying to convert that into a religion and make it the secular religion of the United States of America, where you can impose it, and you can't put a cross, a nativity scene, you can't put a crescent and a star or a six-pointed Jewish star on the side of a federal building, but you can hang a rainbow banner from floor 12 down to the first floor. You can have federal employees painting DC sidewalks rainbow colors and the crosswalks, and put BLM and LGBTQIA plus down the middle of the street. And you can go to an American embassy or consulate anywhere in the world, you see the American flag, and then much against American law, you see a rainbow flag, which is often bigger than the American flag. Aside from pissing everybody off who says we don't play that, you don't see the cross under that flag. You don't see the crescent under that flag. You don't see the six-pointed star under that flag. You don't see the multiple-armed deity of Hinduism.
Judge, hello? We lost Judge. Hope the Judge get back in. I don't know what's going on. It be like that. Hello, Judge. You hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Yeah. Well, I know you talked about that all that. Well, I want to ask with the Emmett Till thing. I think that the attorney down there, the DA, is being very disingenuous about
he could get a lot of credit. All he's got to do is go forward, and he picks up.
I'm just saying, like, he using the excuse that, but he using the excuse that the federal government didn't press forward. But it was an FBI agent that interviewed Carolyn Bryant.
It ain't up to the goddamn federal government. It's a murder in the state of Mississippi.
Right. But you know, it was a memoir that got leaked of hers. And he said that constitutes as new evidence because how she was portrayed before the grand jury the last time, it was a black woman prosecutor that wouldn't go for it because they said that she was a battered spouse, and she never said that to the FBI guy. Even we look at her testimony from back in the 50s.
Wait, young brother, we've had too many black U.S. attorneys who had the moment of glory, the moment of rocking the hell out of the boat, the moment of making their claim in history, who let it go and evaporate it because they were punked out scared.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have dealings with him because it was a brother that was found hanging in Greenwood in a white, rich neighborhood. They said it was a suicide, but he wasn't there. They say he'd been dead for almost 2 days, but his body wasn't there that morning. It was found in the middle of the day, and I had to talk to him about it, and he didn't want no part of that. That was back in 2011 when I spoke to him about.
You know what it is? It's like when you are black and you get in a position to do something for your people. Not only will you be doing something for your people, you will be doing something for the whole system because you will be keeping the system honest and keeping its integrity high. When you sit there and punk out and say, oh, I'm scared. Oh, I don't want to rock the boat. Oh, I want to be a judge, or I want to get it with a big firm. I don't want to risk that hell. You're guaranteeing that you won't get it. Because the way to be a big-time attorney is to kick ass and take on Goliath and slay his ass.
So what would you do, Judge, if you would bring you would try to get that warrant served on her if you was in this position?
technically the warrant has to be served, and technically the police, knowing of the warrant, can deal with their sworn duty and serve it independently. If he wants the warrant not to be served, he needs to take it in front of the appropriate judge and get it dismissed. Now, aside from the warrant, which is one sort of process, what he ought to do is ask the grand jury to review the matter and at least get a determination on the record as to whether or not there will be a true bill of indictment or a no true bill.
Mm-hmm. It's like you don't even want to do
We
that.
had a
It's
U.S.
sad.
attorney here, who sat on his ass for 7-some damn years under the Obama administration on the promise that he'd get a federal judgeship and a lifetime career for the rest of his life, medical insurance, pretty decent salary, and good retirement benefits. He sat on his ass and didn't do a damn thing. The Republican Party had promised him that, and as soon as Trump got elected, they withdrew his name, and they appointed and approved a nondescript white lawyer for the position who got approved in less than 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
See, that being a good Negro is not good.
Yeah, it's disappointing, man. It's so many people that's found hanging, like the brother in Montgomery County in Pennsylvania. He was found hanging from a playground set in a white neighborhood in the same county where they prosecuted or judiciously lynched Bill Cosby in the same county. It was like last month on the weekend of Juneteenth. This man found hanging in a neighborhood behind the police station, Judge, behind the police station, and
let
they
me
said it was
say something.
suicide.
A lot of times, well, let's talk about the Mexican cartels down in Texas.
Okay.
They hang people from trees, but that's not really a lynching because that's just mob activity, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Organized crime. A lot of murders might nominally look like a lynching because they just set it up to do that and throw a lot of, it wasn't us. It was these angry white folk that lynched somebody. So I would suggest patience and let's see what develops in the fullness of time as to what really seems to have happened. See, I've had some things that looked pretty bad.
Right.
That may have had 1 or 2 people involved, but it was 3 people, but it was just some mob activity. Mm-hmm. I've had things where there was some gangs involved, organized crime gangs, tried in my courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have made it look like a lynching. Kind of hard the way they chose to kill the people that were targeted, but it was more than one person, more than 4 or 5, but it was a hit. See, sometimes there's a hit. Sometimes the message may be misinterpreted by the public as, oh, who did this? Is this a lynching with a warning? No, it's a message to some other people in the trade. You have to be careful.
But I'm saying, why call it suicide when I'm saying it's about, how many black men I have read about that's been hanged since 2000 Mississippi alone from trees and telephone poles. Okay. Why call it suicide and why not test the Emmett Till bill?
Okay, how about accidental death, which is what Shelby County is famous for? They used to have Dr. Jerry Francisco, who was famous for these accidental things. Remember Gridley's barbecue?
Yeah, yes, Judge. You told me they got killed.
There was a little funny thing about money getting funny. Old man Gridley turned up dead on I-55 just near Shelby Drive at about 3:30 a.m. one morning. That's Wednesday.
Okay.
His general manager turned up dead about 3:30 a.m. one Thursday morning, the very next day, 1/8 of a mile away. And on Friday, his chief accountant turned up dead on I-55. 1 car wreck, 3:30 in the morning, no witness. Accidental death, tragedy, like hell.
Yes, sir. But I guess things happen. Things happen. I always tell people you want to know about Memphis, what they do. Look at the movie The Firm, that John Grisham movie with Tom Cruise.
Well, you know,
organized crime town, right, Judge?
Memphis is known as the first degree murder capital of America, but they're not talking about street crime.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, this here, I'm doing service and selling sauce. So
right.
it's JJB for mayor of Memphis, Tennessee in 2023. Send Brown downtown. And if you want the best sauce you've ever tried, Judge Joe Brown, JJB Barbecue, BBQ.com. You can order yourself some, and in a little while, it'll be on the shelves of your local grocery stores. So get a jump on the summer. It's some really good stuff. JJB, BBQ, and JJB in 2023 for mayor of Memphis, Tennessee.
That winning combination. That barbecue sauce is good, Judge. It goes good with just about everything and anything.
Yes, it does. French fries included.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that Django review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.